They're all in line. We can restless. They're off. Kansas Cat had the best beginning and goes out to the early lead. Time Song on the inside, sent along. These two to set the pace, and right behind them is Moonlit Sonata, who settles into stride in third. Baldoro is fourth on the outside. One of these days, fifth down toward the rail, and then comes Monterey Bay, who is about 6 lengths off the lead in the early stages. Suchet tucks in toward the rail, moving into that turn, saving every inch of ground, some 6 lengths from the front, moving into that first turn. Russell's Hustle is next on the outside, then Big Bet Jaffin Safa. Yes, we can, and the trailer is Alamo. 24.65 was that opening quarter mile. Not a fast pace here for Time Song and John Velasquez, who have the lead up the backstretch in front by a length. Kansas Cat is second by 2. Moonlit Sonata tracks them from third. Baldoro just in behind Moonlit Sonata, fourth up the backstretch. And then it's One of These Days in Monterey Bay. They went 48.76 for a half mile. Then a well-held Suchet, who's 8 lengths behind right now, under strong restraint from Joel Rosario, moving into the far turn. After that, Russell's Hustle on the outside, Big Bet Jaffin Safa, Weekend, and Zalamo. Around the far turn they go. Time Song and Johnny V out there a half a length. On the outside, Kansas Cat sidles up alongside in second. In behind the leaders comes Moonlit Sonata. Suchet continues to travel well and now swings to the outside for the final furlong and is still under a hand ride here. Joel Rosario hasn't even asked Suchet as Suchet forges to the front and says goodbye. Suchet runs away. The race is for second. It was close. It was Kansas Cat or Moonlit Sonata.
And John Sadler wins the breakfast handicap. Suchet, touche.
He was absolutely loaded as they turned for home, sitting back off a very slow early pace. John Velasquez able to slow them out there on the front end with the 2-horse, and Suchet had plenty left to finish with today. He settled well, which was John Sadler's concern coming into the day, and that certainly paid off in the end with plenty of run.
Look at him here. He's in 6th or 7th, absolutely crawling over horses. A major form reversal here. Kansas Cat finished in front of him. Today he turns it around. I think it's all to do with tactics. He wanted him to relax. He picked a rider that's really good at getting horses to switch off on the turf course and come with a run. And the ability to relax produced this late. When you relax early, I mean, it was hands and heels all the way to the wire.
I mean,
watch this group.
He went at the 8th pole from, hey, he might win, to winning by 5.
In about 4 strides.
That was crazy. Such acceleration. Just a brilliant turn of foot here from Suchet, making 4-1 look like an absolute gift. So it's a good start of the day for Aronis Racing, Joel Rosario, and John Sadler. Throw a blanket over him for second. A photo for place with multiple noses hitting the wire.
Very, very close. Involved in that photo was Kansas Cat, your post-time favorite. He was 8-5, and then the horse with the blue shadow roll, very close on the line between those two. Not sure who that was. There were so many of them charging for the wire at that point.
I'm not going to call it. I'll wait for the stewards to shake out that Polaroid picture, and we'll figure out exactly who finished second in just a moment. But there was no doubt about the winner. Suchet, much, much, much the best here in the opener. Let's take a look at the drone view, because it wasn't an easy spot to get through for Joel Rosario. He had to bull his way through a hole that was barely there.
And why? Because the pace was slow early. They were bottled up. He had to squeeze through. And I think the tactics here, and what John wanted to go back to, was his European roots, where they sit, cover, and punch late. If you look at his first start in the U.S., Mirko Demuro was on him, and he was 11 lengths off the lead and ran his best U.S. race up to this point. So now I think they've found his running style, patient rider to get him to switch off. And the pace really wasn't that fast for him to drop the bridle, right? I mean, you know, normally like this, you say he won 46, close into it. They went 48. He relaxed and really punched it home late.
And there's a look at your unofficial winner. They're still, I think they're parsing out the 3rd place finish more than the 2nd place finish at this point. It was very tight. There was about 4 or 5 horses that all hit the wire within a nose of each other. So a lot to sort out on the minor awards. Here's a look at him loping back to the winner's circle. It's a fantastic performance. Only the 3rd win from this gelding's 15-race career. He's by Cloth of Stars, an Irish stallion by See the Stars. We know the grandsire much better than we know the sire. Bred by Freddie Head in France and owned by Aronis Racing. They picked this one up, I would assume, right before he came to the States, but was a decent horse in France. But here in the U.S., Kind of a tough start to the career. Today, though, gets the victory, clears the condition, and this clearly sets him up for some bigger things down the line.
It looks like they've always had some pretty high hopes for this horse. Of course, you purchase him privately, bring him here. His first start, he was second by a head, immediately put him into the Del Mar Mile. And the start of that race was a little bit of a mess for him. And I think, you know, coming away from that start, Simon, it's almost what put it on his mind, being aggressive, coming away from the gate. He battled in that same manner in his subsequent start in October with Juan Hernandez in the saddle. Today was a totally different story. All of those lessons in the mornings, and then Joel Rosario jumping into the saddle, making the difference, getting him to switch off.
I think this is a horse that the rider makes an absolute difference, personally. I mean, nothing against the two guys that have been aboard. And Paco's an aggressive rider. Look at the running line, pulled. Then Juan Hernandez ranked early, and he was probably a victim of what happened in the race prior. Now you've got a guy that can put horses to sleep and finish.
Photo sign is down. Suchet wins. Kansas Cat second as your 8-5 favorite. Moonlit Sonata third. Baldoro fourth. And Monterey Bay fifth. Suchet, your unofficial winner of the opening race on Championship Saturday.
Now entering the winner's circle is number 3, Suchet. A 4-year-old bay gelding by Cloth of Stars out of D-Size by Kentucky Dynamite. Suchet was bred in France by EARL. Soc de Entertainment Freddie Head, now owned by Heronis Racing LLC. Trained by John Sadler. Joel Rosario, your winning jockey. Number 3, Suchet was first. 6, Kansas Cat, second. 8, Moonlit Sonata, third. 10, Baldoro, fourth. 5th was number 5, Monterey Bay. 3, 6, 8, 10, 5. Your top 5, and this race is now official. Final time for the 1 mile and a 16th, 1 minute 41.96 seconds. Number 3, Suchet, pays 10.40 for the win. Up next is race number 2, start of the early pick 4, scratch number 2, Tall Paul. Post time at 10:40, that's 26 minutes away.